are now listening to the Living Numbers podcast. I am your host, Kenton Barnes. I took over Tony's job today. He got the day off, so I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So I'm gonna turn it over to my co-host. How was that?
I think I can use that.
Detroit is in the building. Let's go.
Okay. As you all heard, this is the Living Numbers podcast. And I got my boy Kenny on. And I guess he's the host today. And I am your also host, Tony Rambles. First, before we get started, I got to tell y'all, make sure you like, subscribe, download, follow. I'm on Spotify, Apple, Anchor, YouTube, Breaker, Stitcher, TuneIn. Just search it up. The Living Numbers podcast, Tony Rambles. You will find me. I'm around. And like I said, I got my boy Kenny on. No introduction needed. How many times have you been on? This is like your third time?
Third or fourth. Yeah,
third or fourth time. Okay, we got a repeat guest here. So Kenny knows how it goes down. We got to open up with our first number. That first number is actually a contract. So it's going to be a couple numbers here. Mm-hmm. It's going to be 4 years, $140 million. And my boy Kenny has been wanting to talk about this topic for a while now. So Ben Simmons, your boy, he pulling the Harden.
I think he's going a little bit more than Harden. He just told him yesterday he's mentally unable to play.
Oh my goodness!
And I don't know how true that can be, or is it in the capacity that he's in?
Right.
Granted, a real we.
That could be a real issue.
Yeah, it could be a real issue.
Right.
But
because of his situation, it's kind of like.
Yeah. But then again, like I said, like if that could be a real situation because he got dogged at work through his job.
Yep.
Through his boss, his coworkers, we would call it in our sense.
Right.
And he have to go to that environment. And I know being in some type of environment where you're not loved, wanted, feeling like it's a family, thought it was a family.
Yeah.
But then when you're talking bad about you.
Yeah.
It's only one way you can get out your job. Not one way, but there's multiple ways to get out your job and handle it. But for his take
profession,
on it, it's a little bit different. And I know me and you spoke about it, briefly through a text message. I told you that I think it's the Rich Paul effect.
Okay, so let's set the stage right here for the people who are not aware, or for the people who are not actually into basketball, because this is not necessarily just a basketball thing, but a life thing. But we're just going to use basketball to frame it. So Ben Simmons has a 4-year, $140 million contract, something like that.
Yep.
And he did not perform well last year in the playoffs or in the time he underachieved when they most needed him. And his head coach and the other best player on the team, they pretty much called him out in the press, in the media, in front of everybody. There's no hiding from it. There's no getting away from it. So they put the business out on Front Street. They aired out the dirty laundry. I mean, we all kind of saw it on TV together. But usually what happens is, and kind of just like family, it's like, nah, we're going to pick him up. He good. That's one of our guys. It's a team effort. We all lost together, that kind of thing. No, not this time. They went out there and was like, yeah, he basically lost the series for us. He lost the game for us, and it's his fault. And so Ben was like, oh, okay, that's how we doing it. I'm never playing in the 76ers jersey again. So basically he's saying, I'm never going to work at this place again. I'm never coming back to work. I don't care about my contract. I don't care how many years I have left. Y'all gonna have to get rid of me. And so to people who may not watch basketball or understand like how the contracts and stuff work, think about it this way. Say you work as a cashier, right? A job that everybody kind of knows. No, what now? Let's say a waiter, because there's different levels. And you can easily see like the good waiters and the waiters that are not good, right? So say you're a waiter, you one of the best ones. We're gonna say we work at a IHOP. Since IHOP is everywhere, everybody know IHOP. You the best waiter, and y'all sign contracts. You got about 6 months left on your contract, which is kind of an eternity in a place like that. And you go, you know what? I kind of don't want to be here. So you go to your manager and you go, well, you can trade me to Denny's and you could get 3 waiters back and they'll hire 3 more waiters for you. So most managers will go, okay, cool, bet. I'll do that. I get more people. I get more staff. I don't have to pay for it. Yes, I'm losing my best waiter, but I might get another really, really good waiter out of it, or maybe a couple of good waiters. Not going to be as good as this person I'm losing, but I can get some value. So Ben Simmons, the way he played last year, the person from Denny's is coming back and saying, I don't know if you like that good of a waiter anymore. I don't know if you an 8 or a 9 out of 10. You might be more like a 6 right now. So I'm not going to give you 3 waiters and hire 3 more. I'll give you 1 waiter, maybe 2, and I'll hire 2 waiters for you, but I'm only paying for half of it. So the value has gone down on Ben Simmons, this person that we thought was this amazing waiter, right? So now Ben Simmons is like, I don't care what the value is. I don't care how I played last year, or I don't care how I waited tables, a week ago. I'm not coming back to work. So either you could get that 1 or 2 waiters for me, or at the end of 6 months, I'm just going to leave and you're not going to get any waiters for me. So now that puts the company, the IHOP in question, in a tough position where you go, dang, if we could just get this guy to come in and wait tables for like 2 weeks and everybody see how good he is, then we could get that value back up. We can then trade him to Denny's,
whoever,
and get that same 3 waiters plus 3 more, as opposed to him staying home or him coming here and just sitting in the back like, I'm not going out there. I'm not taking no tables. I might put up a dish for you, but that's it. So that's pretty much
the check.
What you think about that analogy?
I like that. It's a pretty good analogy. It kind of ties in if for the people, it's not hard to understand. So that's a really good way of putting it, for his situation. And it's reality.
Yeah.
It's reality.
So like the question is, how do you deal with being unhappy at your job, but still having to go to work? Because in real life, right, for most other people, there is no, I'm not coming in. You just get fired. There's no trades. So,
I look at it as a different take.
Okay.
As well above that. So for an example, Ben Simmons is making well over $100 million.
Right. He making $35 million a year, $40 million.
He has and for the people like us in the middle class, when people that's not even the middle class, that's in the lower class, we don't have that luxury to say, you know what, I'm not going to work, without having a backup plan.
Right.
On top of a backup plan.
On top of a backup plan.
He literally can stop what he's doing for the rest of his life because he got over $100 million and go and do whatever he wants to do.
Right.
So
he could pivot and say, I'm not playing sports anymore. I'm going to be a whatever.
He can go back to college and get his doctor's degree, be a doctor, be, a male nurse, not saying that's what he want to do, but
exactly. He could do whatever he wants.
He do whatever he wants. And to answer your question, I was in that situation. That's a pretty tough situation, having to go to work knowing you don't want to be there.
Yes.
Can't stand being there. It's just not right culturally for you, spiritually for you, emotional.
Yeah.
It's all of that is draining. So I
Right.
know exactly the feeling going to a job, not wanting to be there.
Yeah.
And for me, I had to stick it out until, I found something else.
Right. What was your
And keep
attitude?
it.
Like each day, like, you don't want to be there.
It,
You get
it
up, how do you like, did you have a good attitude? Was you like, F this
I
place,
was
don't even care or what?
so mentally, yes, it was F this place. But in reality, I had to go there and make the best of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to find a common ground to help me through the day. So
Something.
meaning if it's a coworker of mine that I can always go to, and we have a conversation what that looks like on how we can get out, what we
Yeah.
can do, for to better ourselves, to put
Right.
ourselves in a better situation. It's a difficult thing, but for Ben Simmons, on his behalf, I think looking at his situation,
Mm-hmm.
it's unique because he's decided to go to work just to get the paycheck because he lost almost
Right.
$1 million just sitting out, and he can't
Yeah.
afford that. And I think the smart thing, or that he did do, was saying, you know what, I'm not mentally ready for work, which he might not be mentally ready to
Yeah. I
perform
mean,
at work.
because you can't
And then
prove it.
you can't
You
prove it
can't
until
prove
he
it.
actually
So,
goes to a doctor and go
right.
through the treatment and
Even if he
the
does.
whole.
So like think
Hmm?
about like depression or people like who are mentally
Yeah, I
unstable.
was just I was just gonna say,
Yeah, it can
and
take a while.
it definitely can take a while. It definitely can, and I've been through that. I'm not gonna lie. I've been through that. That's not a good feeling,
Right.
knowing that you're in that state of mind, trying to get over, and become, just trying to be better at what you're
Right.
looking to do, and and for him, he's just looking at everybody like, man, I thought we was better than that, and they coming out publicly, like you said, bashing them, not even the coaches bashing them. We talked about them.
Yeah.
We talked about this 6'9" dude passing the ball at the rim
At the rim.
when a 5'11" guy standing right
Yep.
next to me, he just
Yep.
passes off. Like, in basketball sense, that doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
But he probably was already checked out before then.
Maybe. I
And
think he was already going through his own issues because of
yeah,
the free throw thing. And so we see like the contrast between him and the guy like Giannis, and it's all mental because if you look at their statures, they're similar, right? I think
yes,
anybody who
that's
watches
true.
basketball, they'd be able to go, well, you know what? And I think a lot of people have said it. Ben Simmons just need to do what Giannis do. Just he has the ability, has the athleticism, right? The issues are the same. They both are not good shooters, and there had been a reluctance to shoot. But Giannis kind of got over that hump mentally and say, I'm shooting the
Yep.
ball because I need to. And I'm going to get
Yeah.
better at shooting the ball as opposed to Ben Simmons, who may take a lot of shots in practice as well as in these summer runs. But when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to the actual NBA games, he just has some kind of block as far as being able to shoot the basketball. And it wasn't always like that. He used to take some shots, like not a lot, but very few shots. Now he takes none. He just doesn't even attempt something that appears to be a jump shot. But back to like the workplace stuff. I know for me, I've also been in a position where I did not want to go to a job anymore. I was over it.
Mm-hmm.
I was tired of being there. But I
Mm-hmm.
think for me, I think what you talked about as far as like having somebody there, hopefully that you are cool with, that you may consider a friend, that always helps because now you have somebody
Mm-hmm.
that you can talk to that it's like, at least me and this person has some common ground. Maybe both of us don't want to be here anymore. So we can just kind
Yep.
of talk about it and bond over it and then kind of make our plan of escape, so to speak. But but I know that for me, there's always like a bigger reason for everything that I do. And like I've talked about God on here before a ton of times. And so like that's where my motivation has to really kick in from that level, that spiritual level, to where I'm like, I'm not doing this just for me. Like now my name is on the line and like what I represent. So I talk about being a Christian, like now this is the time where I have to really be about it and follow those principles, even if you're unhappy, being able to still be content, right, in your circumstance. Right? That's what the scripture says. So taking that into the workplace and not leaving that at home because you in your feelings or you just upset or you're not getting what you feel like you're valued at, you got to still, like you said, stick it out until you could go somewhere else or do something else. But my thing is to always, if you're unhappy and you want to do something that's different, like you have to put in the work, you have to put in the time. So it might look like being up late, maybe getting some kind of certification or going back to school or, putting in those applications and not getting discouraged. So unhappy at the workplace, like I couldn't go about it like Ben is doing. I know that kind of in that, because think about it, if he goes in there and he plays well, right, they're not going to want to trade him.
They're not.
But if he goes in there and he plays bad, now he's smearing his name, and now his name looks bad, right?
And then they're not gonna. And it's kind of like they're not even. And like you said, the value of him, it pretty much devalues what they will get back in return, because if they wouldn't trade Ben Simmons for
nothing.
Just anybody. You just really can't trade him for just anybody. You definitely got to get equal value for what this is.
100%.
It applies for everything. You can't go in and trade in a Toyota Corolla and get a Maserati.
Exactly.
That doesn't apply. So you definitely got to trade a value of a car for the same value as what you want to return, regardless if it's the player, but you're getting pieces back and down the line. So
real quickly though, where would you like to see him go? I'll go first. I got a couple places.
Okay.
Indiana. If they could get Karis LeVert, Malcolm Brogdon, TJ Warren, because Indiana's never going to get a superstar unless they trade for one or they draft one. Nobody's going there.
True.
They put him with Sabonis. Okay, you might have something. Even if they could trade like a Miles Turner, because they've been trying to get off him for a while and put Sabonis
for a while.
So and he could shoot it. He could play good defense. So him and Joel together. Now they have Drummond, so I don't know how that fit.
I got a sneaky one that I just thought of.
I got one more.
Okay.
Washington. Now, they got a bunch of guys there that I feel like if they could trade everybody except Bradley Beal, and now you got Beal and you got Ben, that's something that you can build around. Now, if I'm 76ers, I want Beal. And at that point, I think if I'm Washington, and once Beal gets ready to go and says I'm out, then still I would trade Beal for Ben Simmons for the simple fact that, again, Washington is a place that doesn't really get anybody. So, hey, take Ben Simmons, reset, build around him. Those are my two.
I would like to see Ben go to Miami. Meaning you trade Kyle Lowry that just got there, he gets to come home because they was trying to acquire him last year. You throw in a couple of other little pieces. I don't know if that means Duncan Robinson has to go or Tyler Hero for Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons will play a partially part in what Miami needs.
Ben Simmons don't mess with Jimmy Butler though. That's the reason Jimmy Butler left.
You're right. Forgot about that. But even though that's why I said fantasy.
Okay.
And then another way, if they really want to get something in return, don't know how it would look, but I would say Oklahoma City because they have a ton of pieces to get to off, to come off of because they have like 7, 8, 9 first round picks.
They got a lot.
They got a lot for the next couple of years.
But the thing about them is like Philly, they want guys that could play now. Like the Philly trying to win a championship.
They got what's his name? Alexandra, I can't think of his name.
Talking about SGA?
Yeah, SGA.
Oh, no, they're not trading him.
I know. But if you want more in return, which those picks you're going to get from Philly as well, and you can still take those other picks and translate them into something else. Because they have the cap room. They have whatever they want. These are just ideal because I can't think of it right now.
Right.
Who I would like to see Ben go to. Of course, Houston. John Wall getting out of Houston to go to Philly. Along with Eric Gordon, because we got to get. They want to come off off the older guys and bring in a younger guy, not knowing what Ben Simmons can translate with the younger guys because it's a start over. Everybody's starting over. So just imagine you got Porter, Green, Ben, Woods, and whomever else.
Right. That could work. Okay, let's pivot from one workplace to another.
Okay.
John Gruden, 7 emails. That's our number right here. 7 emails. Because that pretty much started the firestorm and got him up out of there.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know, John Gruden had some racist, some very unfortunate language in some of these emails, or a lot of these emails. And so he had to, quote unquote, step down, or they was going to get him up out of there anyway. I wonder what else is in those emails, number one. And now that's being investigated by the government. Like, oh, yeah, we want to know too.
Oh, wow.
And how can you tell people's true colors? That's the question here, because a lot of people, they didn't think John Gruden was like that. But if you listen to Keyshawn Johnson, he like, yeah, I believe it. He's something like that. But sometimes you don't really know it goes this far. Like you might have somebody that cuss that's kind of vulgar, but you're like, I didn't know he was racist though. Like I didn't know that. So
I couldn't
tell somebody's true colors. There we go.
That's difficult.
Right.
That's really difficult because you can't really, unless they just blatantly show you who they are. Most time people that show you who they are, and people are really good at hiding who they are.
Yes.
And I think that's the case with him and others. You'll never see, like, I don't mean to bring him up, but just Jerry Jones. You would never see him just blatantly come out and say, oh, I'm racist, for whatever reason. But you could tell by some of his actions on when the kneeling first took place, and he was like, this is the first and last time we're doing it, and this is it. Not saying that he's racist or he supports it, but he just, I guess for his stance, he was just saying, we're not going to have this as a distraction for my company, my organization, my team, my everything.
That's something that make you pause and think like, I don't know. Maybe there's something behind that.
I'm glad we brought it up. The other thing is me. I grew up a Peyton Manning fan, never really, like the Texans like that. And then as soon as Peyton Manning retired, I say, okay, I got to find a team. Just, because I like football. I went to the Texans, for a little bit until the owner came out with his statement.
That stuff
like, you can't let the prisoners run the prison. And I'm like, that's racist within itself. And I'm
Right.
like, if y'all okay with that statement, and he is the owner of the team, he also has his wife, his kids, and everybody else in his family. Not saying they support it and say it's right, but it's the fact that his last name links to the team, which they still own as the male, whatever foundation that we set is what we set for everybody. And not saying that his kids are racist or the family, but it's still the fact that, like I said, nobody has come out.
It's another flag.
Nobody has, nobody has
that kind of sound a certain way, man.
So it's really difficult to find someone true colors,
right?
Until the situation comes up, and
they don't know. Like, you don't know until really it hits the fan. Like, until something start happening where it's not all everybody cool now. You don't really know until there's some kind of controversy or there's some kind of friction where you really have to take a stand and you have to choose a side. Right.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
So how would you handle it if you knowing somebody is racist and they let it be known that they're racist, but you have to work with them? How would you handle that? How have you ever encountered that?
I haven't encountered somebody kind of blatantly saying, like, I don't like black people, or I don't like people of color, or women, or whatever. I haven't had anything like that where someone blatantly, overtly says it. But I do think that there is something to just kind of knowing where that person stands.
Yeah.
Because you can't just avoid people that you don't like, especially at work, because we all work here. Somebody hired them, somebody hired me. So, I mean, it depends on how closely I have to work with that person. How much does that person affect my work, my job? Is that person my boss? Now, if that person is over me in a management or leadership position, like, I'm out. I can't do that. However, like, if we're on the same level and they don't work closely with me, then it kind of is what it is, because you can't just get away from everything.
Yeah.
Because you have to learn how to work with people that you don't like, people that you don't get along with, people who may not like you, and just kind of is what it is. That's it.
Yeah.
So if there was somebody like that, as long as that person is not over me, then I'll just figure it out. But it is something, it is better to know that they're that way as opposed to somebody smiling in your face, but then sending racist emails behind your back.
Yeah. Talking about you.
Right. Yep. Speaking of, like, going behind people's backs, right? We have Kyrie Irving and the vaccine mandates in New York. Now, we're using Kyrie as a jumping off point, but vaccine mandates are affecting more than just Kyrie Irving, right? In the NBA. But the way that, I don't want to say controversy follows Kyrie, but there's always like a little something that's going on that's just some extra stuff, right? Everywhere he's been, like in Cleveland, he forced his way out. Like, he didn't want to play with LeBron. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, you don't want to be in LeBron's shadow. That's understandable, even though in basketball, like, the better player overshadows everybody. Everybody's in Michael Jordan's shadow, whoever played with him. There's not many people where they share it like Kobe and Shaq. But for a while, Kobe was in Shaq's shadow because Shaq was the best player on the team. He was dominant. He had this huge personality. Right. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of guys in Larry Bird's shadow, a lot of guys in Magic Johnson. Like, so being the best player on the team, you're going to overshadow guys. And I understand Kyrie Irving's like, okay, I want to go do my own thing. You go, okay, cool. Then he goes to Boston. And before Kyrie got there, they went to the conference championship. And then once he got there, again, there was just like some issues there. Now, when guys talk about Kyrie, I feel like they always talk about how good of a guy he is, how good of a teammate he is, but every time he goes to a team, there's just some issues with how they perform.
Yep.
Right. Boston regressed when he went there. Then you go,
Yeah.
there might be something to this guy. And then he had the earth is flat thing. And then he had the I'll stay if y'all want me. Then he bolts and gets up out of there. And then he goes to Brooklyn. In that first year, when it was just him, there was no James Harden. KD was still hurt. He had that whole press conference about like some guys being gone. And he mentioned some guys and didn't mention some other guys. It's just like, okay, what is up with this guy? There's always some issue traveling.
Yeah, I always got something. Yes.
Some issue. And so now here we go. We've got the vaccine deal. Now, I'm gonna be honest, like I felt like wary or cautious of the vaccine as well. There's just not enough information about the short-term and long-term effects. Now, I know that with the vaccine, a lot of people, and Charles Barkley said as much, is you're not just getting the vaccine for you, right? Yep. It's not just about you. And that's really the stance that I took because, you know, I just had a son. He's 4 months. Actually, tomorrow, 4 months. And I work as a teacher and I'm at a school. I'm around kids every day. I'm around a lot of adults every day. And I didn't want to risk, you know, bringing COVID home to him. Yeah. And that's why I ended up getting the vaccine. So that pretty much is kind of my vaccine story. But I was caught. I'm like, I just don't know. Yeah. Right? And I hadn't been sick. I hadn't got sick at all. I don't know if I had COVID or not because, you know, it was around for a couple of months before it became like this big thing here in the United States. So some people feel like they had it before, you know, the whole country shut down. So,
I think, my mom mentioned she feel like she had it because those same symptoms she had prior to it actually being announced that this was the thing.
Right. So yeah, I usually don't get sick, and I hadn't gotten sick since COVID started. But you know, when I got the vaccine, it wasn't about me. It was about, you know, my son and being able to make sure he's safe, and also like my kids at school, because I might be, you know, asymptomatic, but I might be still spreading it because, you know, I'm not the best at keeping my mask on.
Yeah.
And so I got players on the team, you know, I do a lot of stuff. So I didn't want to put anybody else at risk. So what do you think? You know, just
I agree. I was against it. Like I wasn't fun to get it. I wasn't wanting to get it because, like you said, wasn't much information about it.
Right.
Also, people, what was a real weird stat line was people were dying with the vaccine, and people that didn't get the vaccine wasn't dying. So it was like, I'm like, that's not really. I don't know what I didn't really see the other stats or statistics about it.
Numbers can be skewed. But, you know, you see the wrong numbers, you might go, oh, well, wait a second. And then you see the right numbers, you know, depending on what data set you see. Yeah, it could skew you different way.
And I don't know, this past July, you know, numbers had spiked with COVID like instantly. So, you know, my mom kept saying, hey, I want you to go get it. And then me and my fiance talked about it one day and we're just like, well, hey, let's just go get it because her parents are, you know, not much older, but they are older.
Right. Right.
You know, my parents are older, you know, underlying conditions, you know, and on both sides with sickness. So we just said, hey, let's just do it. You know, it ain't even about it's more so just making sure we're protected and keeping everybody else around us protected. We're not planning on going out the country next month, 2 months, 3 months from now, unless I hit the lottery. You come in with me. But at the end of the day, we had to do what was the best interest for ourselves, but also everybody around us. And we wanted to make sure, you know, we were at least putting the right foot forward instead of saying, hey, you know, we're going to go out to eat. and wear a mask, but we're still not going to get vaccinated.
Right.
Not saying if the vaccination is working 100% over someone else that didn't have it, but we just wanted to make sure we were taken care of and we were good. Right. And for Kyrie, just to get, to piggy on him, he's making well over $200 million not to get vaccinated and go to work. And he's stated that he's not against it, but he's not for it, which leaves me like, okay, if you're not with it and you're not against it, then what are you doing? So, I need to know your stance.
it's like if you have somebody that says, okay, winning the championship is the most important thing to me. So you do whatever it takes to win the championship. Right? I believe that a lot of guys on the team, especially with a team like that. Now, if this team stunk, like nobody would care, honestly. If your goal is to win the championship and everybody's got to get vaccinated to do that, then that's just what you would do. Now, if your goal or the most important thing to you is something that's not winning the championship, then now you make different decisions. So that's why everybody is talking about it. It's not necessarily because of Kyrie is this, this person that people like or dislike. It's a basketball story. Without him, it changes how the team looks.
And that goes back to what we talked about earlier with Ben Simmons. His value to the team is great.
Yes.
But at the same time, because he always put himself in the middle of something, raises red flags to other teams. And it's kind of like, I don't even want to touch him because every time he goes somewhere, it's a problem. And why would we want to be paying over $200 million for someone that's going to be causing problems? Right. Ideally, yes, you have your problems or whatever they may be, but you constantly have problems. Don't know where you're at mentally.
Right. He might just leave and be gone for a little while.
He just might leave. And don't tell nobody what he's doing, where he's at, what was wrong. Is he just taking days off? What is he doing? So it's a slippery slope when it comes to him. And what his stance is.
If your job gave you a vaccine mandate, like you got to take the vaccine. Like, of course, you're already vaccinated, which we talked about already. But 6 months ago, if they say you got to be vaccinated to work here, like what would you have done?
Honestly, if I wasn't vaccinated, they said if I would wait till the last day, they tell me. If they say you got to be vaccinated by November 1st, I'm waiting until November 1st until then. But like I said, it kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier with the whole backup of a backup plan.
Okay.
With all of that, we out here, we don't have the money that they have, so we have to keep doing what we have to do to stay above and afloat, to keep making a living, because you have a family. I have me and my fiance. We looking to start a family. And we can't put ourselves in a situation where it's going to hinder us from progressing. Right. And for Kyrie, he made a lot of money. He has made a lot of money over the years, and
he can walk away if he wants to.
Yeah, he can. He literally can walk away, but it kind of sucks for Kevin Durant because he came there knowing that you were going to be there. Yeah. And when y'all had the ability to inquire James Harden, just kind of put everything else over the top. So when he does come back to the team, I mean, we looking at them as being the best team to win the ship.
Maybe.
If healthy.
All right. Speaking of championships, the Astros. You from Houston? This is your team.
Yep, that's not my team, but keep going.
Oh, you a Yankees guy, right?
Yeah, but I'm gonna keep it real.
Well, the Astros, because we live in Houston, and I guess I'm a I live here, so if Detroit is not in it, then I
Mhm.
want the Houston team to do well.
Yeah,
They are in their third World Series in 5 years.
correct.
Those are numbers. 3 out of 5.
Yep.
You think they're gonna win it?
They have a chance.
Of course, they're in the World Series. They got a
Yeah,
chance.
no. Yeah. They definitely. The only concern, which has been working, and I've been talking to my homeboy about it, and we're probably gonna talk about it again today after the football game, is that they don't have starting pitching.
Right.
That is their weakness.
Yep.
But I never really paid attention to the Astros up until this point, and he mentioned that longest they can get to the longest the starting pitcher can get at least 4 to 5 innings, and the bullpen is really good once they get to that point, because the Astros have the best offense in the game.
Yep.
That's realistic. They at least score 5 runs a game, at least.
So as long as the starter doesn't get chased early, they should be okay.
They should be okay. The only thing is, I really, really, really want to see the Dodgers and the Astros rematch. That's what I really want to see. They have a really good chance of going back and getting another ring if everything plays out, because they're playing amazing ball right now. I can't lie. I'm not a fan, but I got to give credit where credit is due. I have to. I will be at the parade if they do win as well.
I'm not going to no parade. I don't really care that much. But
you might have a day off.
I hope they win. I think there will be a bunch of people that maybe call in. I don't really wear gear that's not Detroit gear. Like, I don't have Astros shirts. I got some U of H stuff because I went there for a little bit. But other than that, if it's not Detroit, like, I don't even wear it. But
yeah,
maybe,
I see. You got your Detroit Tigers hat on.
I'm thinking, like, I don't even think I'm going to wear an Astros shirt if they win. I'm not even going to get an Astros shirt.
I'm not. My father-in-law tried to get me an Astros gear, and I told him I'm not wearing it. I'm sorry, bro. I'm like, there's no disrespect. I love you, but I'm not wearing it. I'll just give it to, you know, my fiance. Sorry.
Okay. Last topic here. And of course, we got to do today in history. October 23rd, 1915, the first national horseshoe throwing championship occurred in Kellerton, Iowa. Now, you may be thinking out there, what does horseshoes have to do with anything? Does Mr. Rambles throw horseshoes? The answer is only if it's at a cookout or a barbecue. Okay, a family gathering. And so I wanted to ask my boy Kenny, what is his favorite activity to do at the family gathering, the cookout, the barbecue, the family reunion? Everybody out there, like, y'all know what time it is. When your family gets together, there's something that y'all do. So what is Mr. Barnes, what is his favorite thing to do at the family cookout?
It's 2.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be black if I didn't say it. Dominoes.
Spades. Dominoes and spades. So, like, growing up in Detroit, like, I don't remember people playing dominoes like that. But definitely we played spades, tonk, speed. Like, the playing cards were out.
Yes. I never learned how to play tonk.
I honestly don't know how to play tonk, but but I know Derek know how to play tonk.
Yeah.
You said dominoes and spades. Mine, I know every time my family get together, we always got the football. The football is in my trunk. I'm always driving. So I always have the football ready. When me, Troy, Keith, Darian, Devin, like, when we get together, when the boys come out, like, the football will be out. And if it's a basketball court around, it's a wrap. I don't care what I got on. We're going to the court, and I think I'm the best player in our family. I think that's pretty easy. D-Lo might have something to say about that, though.
You the best? Wow, that's a big.
In our family, I mean, I don't know. I don't think anybody else really hoop like that. I know Derek used to hoop. I don't know how much hooping he do right now. D-Lo used to really, really hoop. D-Lo was pretty good. I don't know how much he hoop right now either. Troy not a hooper. He'll tell you.
Yeah.
So when the family get together, definitely gonna have the football out. And then one other thing that we do is we watch The Temptations.
Y'all watch The Temptations?
The Temptations every time. That movie is like 2.5 hours long. It's a long movie.
I don't think we have a family movie that we sit down and watch. We'll sit there and just like we know Thanksgiving is coming up, so we sitting around watching football games, eating, cooking, eating on some banana pudding, bread pudding. Man,
right.
I'm ready for that right now. But
hey man, macaroni and cheese. That's my favorite food as far as Thanksgiving is concerned. Macaroni and cheese.
Mine is the dressing.
Okay, my mother-in-law makes great dressing. I never ate dressing or stuffing or whatever you want to call it, or whatever the difference is.
Until you had her.
I did not eat that stuff before I ate hers. It is good. It is good.
And Kia know how to make it?
Nah. She just get it from her mom's house.
She listen, the only way to keep that family recipe going, she gotta keep it. She gotta do it and make it for you.
One of these days, I hope so. All right, y'all. That's gonna bring us to the end of this episode. I want to thank my boy Kenny for coming on again.
Yeah.
He will definitely be back. We'll be talking some basketball. Y'all know what time it is. The season just started. The Lakers need to get it together. I think they'll be all right because they still got LeBron. They still got AD. How does Russell Westbrook fit in? I'm not sure.
He did pretty good last night, but we're gonna see.
The Bucks, though, they look like they back with a vengeance.
No, they're not.
What?
Did you see when they played Miami?
All right. No, I seen when they played the Nets, though.
I did. And I think that was I think they lived up. It was just the hype, the
adrenaline.
Yeah, say it something.
Okay.
My mouth. Yeah, it was opening night. I think that played a big part in it, but they went out and laid an egg on Thursday against Miami. And yeah.
Miami is good.
Yeah, they are. And PJ Tucker, he said he had some inventions because they didn't bring him back, which I would feel some type of way too, because I was there to do all your dirty work for him. So yeah.
Okay. Well, if y'all want to hear some more basketball stuff, go check out episode 25. I have a whole NBA preview. I talk about every team. I got a couple of questions for every team, where they are, no matter if they're at the top or if they're at the bottom. And make sure y'all like, subscribe, share, download, follow. You know, I'm on Spotify, Apple, Google, Anchor. Also, follow me on Instagram at _TonyRambles_. And you can email the show. The email is the number 1, TonyRambles@gmail.com. Kenny, you got any parting thoughts?
No, I don't. I just can't wait for you to have me back. We could talk about whatever you want to talk about. Let me know. I'm open. I don't have to just talk about sports. So I'll be willing, I'm wanting to come back. That's all I can say.
All right, y'all. That's my boy Kenny signing off. Your host, Tony Rambles. And we will see you all in the next one.
See you.
All right. I think that's it, man.
Okay.